done by the Seventh-day Adventists to talk about this issue of mind, body, spirit, health, and using the acronym CREATION. So we talked last time about the C, choice. I'm just going to do a quick review before we get into what we have today. And we talked about the R, rest. And today we're doing environment and activity. December, hiatus for Christmas, and then we'll get back to trust, T, I, interpersonal relationships, O, outlook, in other words, my mindset, and for nutrition. So we'll finish those up in January, February. All right, so let's go ahead and dig in. Quick reminder then, we said, well, this information, start and applying this information, and my health, taking authority over it and control over it, starts with choice. And we said that success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If I make a commitment, this is very different than thinking about something. Commitment means whether it's inconvenient or not, I stick with this. And that's what we're looking for. In terms of choice, just a couple of points that we made last time is that we are what we choose. We are what we choose. We have the right and responsibility to choose. And if we make a choice and it doesn't work anymore, we have the right to change that choice. Maya Angelou talks to us about that in her book, Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now. That we need to understand what we believe about choice and our rationale for making choices. And so we talked there about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, internal and external locus of control. That if I have an internal locus of control, I believe I have the ability to alter or change the things that are in my life. If I have an external locus of control, I believe that all of the forces out there prevent me from being able to make changes. So we want a strong internal locus of control. And if you want to check out your locus of control, my suggestion would be that you check out Rotter and its locus of control assessment. And you'll get a score that tells you where you fall in this area. We talked about the Yale University study that examined people getting well and recovering from sickness when they had choices about their care versus when they did not. And overwhelmingly, people got better when they could make choices. Viktor Frankl tells us in Man's Search for Meaning that the only thing we really have control over is our attitude and the choices that we make about situations and circumstances that oftentimes come into our life that we have no control over. And certainly we don't have control over other people, do we? The other research studies that were covered in this book talk about the ability to make choices and how this lowers cortisol, lowers stress, and again, increases our ability to fight against anxiety and depression. The next point was that choice is really at the heart of God and his plan for us and how he sees us. He always gives us choice. You can do this or that. It's your choice. I'm not deciding for you. We also know that when motivation outweighs difficulty, we choose to change. Another way to say that would be when where I am is icky enough and it overrides the fear of where I'm not, I'll make the change. And then we said, well, 4 choice success steps. One would be to decide I want a healthier. Once I decide that, look at where I will make those changes. Bite-sized pieces. I don't want to be overwhelming about my goal, but I also don't want to be underwhelming. So I want to be a little bit realistic, but push myself a bit. And I want to prioritize. I can't fix everything at once and then take action. So SMART goals are the best, right? I make them specific, measurable, action-oriented, are realistic, and time-sensitive. All right, good on the choice part? See? We're good? All right. Rest. Rest is our R. And we said, all right, well, stress is inevitable. We're going to be stressed. And we need recovery time. The number one way to recover body and brain is sleep. And most of us need about 7 or 8 hours. We can break that up into 2 pockets of successful or quality sleep, but we do need sleep. But we said there's other kinds of rest that we also need. So we need maybe a massage. This is relaxing for my body. We need periods of calm where we pull away from social media, we pull away from noise. I was telling a friend this morning, I texted her and I said, Sylvia, I need help. I just feel like everything is so noisy out here. Can you help me with just a word? And she goes, well, number one, don't get your panties in a wad about anything political, because Jesus was born into a very sucky political situation. So calm down and do your relaxation journey that you talk about all the time, where you're on a nice path with God. And what do you hear said? And I did that, and I started weeping. Because what I heard was, it's all right. I have a plan. I love you, and I'm with you. I'm not going anywhere. Do not worry. Trust in me. So periods of calm. And when you sense that it's getting noisy out there for you, pull in, center, use mindfulness practices, meditation, prayer, mind-body exercises, grounding, breathing, the things that we've talked about to bring yourself back. And sometimes you just need to step away, right? So self-care, we've talked a ton about that. Movement is medicine, movement and exercise, and we need to get outside. Healing, outside is healing for us. Air, wind, sun, green, all of that. Positive relationships, quality relationships. Who's been in a relationship that wasn't positive before? I'm not talking necessarily about marriage. I'm talking about friendship, parent-child relationships. They are stressful, aren't they? They cause us to become weary. They deplete our serotonin, and our cortisol level goes sky high. And so we need to make sure that we have healthy boundaries. A client asked me this morning, what do I do about my parents? What do I do about my husband's parents? I can't handle either one of them because they're so toxic. I think you have to use boundaries. You have to decide what works for you and how you can protect yourself, because they may or may not change, right? What's happening over there with parent-child?
That's the dilemma that she's been helping me with, like slapping Elisa's answer.
No, that probably wouldn't work. All right, other forms of rest. We talked about a Sabbath rest. So dedicating time, a slot or an entire day, like God modeled for us, and making that I'm off limits. I'm in the relaxation zone today. I'm not doing those things. I'm not engaging in that. I need to pull away and regroup and rejuvenate. And that can be so hard when everything's so fast and so pulling on you. We talked about the Nemo story where the fish was dying in this aquarium in the hospital. And the expert on aquariums came in and said, well, yeah, because you have the light on all the time. Turn the light off. Let Nemo rest. And the rest is history. And then Nemo was in a movie, got cast by Disney. The whole thing worked out really well. But we know that athletes rest. Our heart rests after every beat. And so we need to follow suit. I asked you guys to check out the rest test that you can find online, where you kind of look at, all right, so do I need sugar, caffeine, or medication to get up in the morning? Do I lose concentration in office? Do I fall asleep at my desk? Do I fall asleep whatever? Do I experience worry, anxiety, panic during the day? A client told me this morning, I always feel rushed. I always feel hurried. And I have to stop and say, wait a minute, why am I feeling rushed or hurried? All I have to do is the next thing. I don't have to think about the thing after that. Being a therapist has really taught me how to implement that, because if I'm thinking about the next person while you're with me, you're not going to come back. So I have to stay focused only on, you are the most important person in my world for this hour. And I will think about the next person when it's the next person. And I have to do that in my life as well. In everything, because otherwise it's way too much, it's way too big. My son taught me that too. He said, Mom, I can't stay sober for my entire life if I think about my entire life, but I can stay sober today, and then I can stay sober tomorrow. All right, so sleep success steps, several of them here. Develop a regular sleep hygiene program, a regular sleep pattern. I just put a post on this on school.com, shrink wrap. Also, there is a podcast on all of these different forms of rest. So sleep, breath, grounding strategies, using guided imagery, taking an imaginary journey, going on a fake vacation, going on a real vacation. Rachel, you just went on a break, a nice break, to the beach. You feel rejuvenated now? Yes. You and I probably need to take a day off after we, laughter, best medicine ever. Practicing the Sabbath, praying, mindfulness, and all of that. All right, good on the CR. Ready for E? Okay, here we go. Chief Flying Hawk, I don't know, Sioux tribe. My adoptive mom is from the Shawnee tribe, so I wasn't familiar with this quote. Nor am I ever included in the powwows. Not even been grafted in. It's just not okay. All right, he says, nobody can be in good health if he does not have the time, fresh air, sunshine, and good water. He loved it. He needed to add in friendship, but yeah. All right, so environment. Our environment has a huge impact on our health. And we're in charge of a lot of that. We can create an environment that is pleasing to us, that is aesthetically optimal for us. And we're all different, so we're going to have different things that cause us to feel peaceful, that make us feel like we're home. So I just moved into my other home in Florida. It doesn't feel like home yet, right? There's nothing in it but a couple of things. There's nothing on the wall. It has no color scheme, no candles, nothing. No nice blankets, just the one on my bed. And so it feels a little bit draining on my psyche. When I got back home last night, my stuff. This is home. So we need to create that kind of environment, and it soothes the senses. So we're going to start with sight, all right? The sense of sight, order and simplicity. Clutter. How many of you know? How many of you have a problem? Clutter does me in. I cannot do it. All right. I can't see hands. All right, lots of hands, almost everybody. So for some people, they kind of just oblivious to it, and it doesn't matter so much. But for many people, when there's clutter out here, there's clutter in here. And over here, I've got a smidge of OCD. I really don't function well with certain types of clutter. All right, so order and simplicity. Aesthetics. Establishing warmth in your home and in your work environment too. When I worked at Mattel in corporate, we had cubicles. Gross. They were gray, also gross. And you couldn't even do push pins in them. Anything would fall down. So we had to take stuff up, and it was just not good. Plus, there were a couple of other things wrong there. I wasn't on the Barbie line for one. Anyway, pictures, family, friends, paintings, photographs of nature, things that bring you back to positive times or memories in your life are wonderful to put in your surrounding. I loved reading in this book about Matisse, that he was sick toward the end of his life. And so his family put him out by the window so that he could see the French countryside. Who's seen the French countryside? Me too. It's beautiful. And the article said, or the piece said, he painted some of his best paintings from that place. We want a family to do that for us, right? Don't stick me in some sort of thing over here. Sunlight. It's one of the 7 natural laws of health. And natural light brightens the room and the soul. Direct exposure with the vitamin D. All of this is healthy for us, and we need it. Seasonal affective disorder is real as it gets dark early. And I just put a post in about this as it gets dark early. And we don't have as much sun. And I never experienced this in California with my clients, people coming in with seasonal affective disorder. The early part, yes, would impact people, but it's sunny. So when I got here, lots of people coming in, I'm not okay, I feel very depressed. And so if we end up not having a ton of sunlight soon, we want to get, and it's bothering you, you're finding yourself being bothered by this, depressed, anxious. You want to get a sad lamp so that you can do this in a false way, so that you get something.
What about people that are in like Alaska or something where they've got the 6 months and the 6 months? I mean, how does that work emotionally for them because they don't have the light?
Very difficult. Yeah, or all light or all dark.
Right.
Yeah, I have no idea what the stats are in Alaska, but I can imagine that the suicide rate is high and the depression rate is really high.
Yeah.
We also have a lot of population there that doesn't tolerate alcohol, so that will be a factor, right? I'm gonna self-soothe with my depression or my anxiety so lots of problems. I can't imagine. It's a beautiful place, but it would be a hard place to live. Other benefits of sunlight, here you go here. Lots of things were covered. So we want to avoid direct contact of the sun to the skin. Unfiltered sunlight into the eyes by removing glasses, sunglasses, or contacts. Test freeze, my wonderful reflexology friend shared that with us. I wasn't aware of that. So not looking at the sun, but exposing your eyes directly to the sun allows the maximum benefit. 30 minutes a day of sunshine. And then I have a book here for you to take a peek at if you would like. All right, smell. The olfactory sensory process is the only one of the senses that goes directly to the brain and doesn't bypass any other systems. So this is very important. That means smells are powerful in terms of trauma memory, but also in terms of taking me into a soothing place if I'm feeling stressed. Plants and flowers. Gardening is the art that uses flowers and plants as paint and the soil and sky as canvas. I loved that quote. Who likes gardening? Oh, lots of you. I'm terrible at it, so I get frustrated. Gardening and cooking. And they're both very healthy things for people to do if it doesn't piss you off. So keep doing that. Thank you. Thank you, Leisha. All right, so scented candles burning. Vanilla has been shown to produce a sense of well-being. Oils, but any of these things, you know what you like, you know what's soothing to you. Baking smells. Cinnamon, chocolate, pie crust. Some of this has to do with memory, and it takes us back and it gives us a euphoric feeling if in fact that's a grandma memory or a childhood memory or another kind of memory that's positive for you. But I used to simmer cinnamon all the time and just have that happening. Because I don't cook, I had to just do a trick, you know. Just a couple of aromatherapy or essential oils here. So eucalyptus to clear the head, lavender and chamomile for relaxation. A lot of you know a lot more about essential oils than I do. Pine for creativity, orange and lemon for refreshing, tea tree for grounding, thyme, strengthening the immune system, peppermint for digestion, headache. So I was in China at one point, and all my luggage was lost for 2 days. Have I told this story already? This was super depressing. I had no makeup, no contacts, no clothes. I had to wear the leader's clothing, and the leader was a man about 300 pounds. So I wore the stuff from the airplane multiple days, and I also had a tremendous headache from the flight. And my wonderful little partner, roommate, said, oh, I do Young Living. Here you go. And she slapped the peppermint oil on the back of my neck. Lifesaver. I still didn't want to go out anywhere the way I looked, but my headache was better. Yes, Lisa.
So, with that lesson, do you pack certain little specific things in your carry-on or purse? Because you cannot.
I love that tiny little kit that I don't know if it's doTERRA or Young Living has.
It's the tiny one.
The tiny little guys, it's like the sample kit, and my kid clients will come in and say, I took it to school in my backpack and it was really helpful. So yeah, one of those companies produces a little kit that has like 10 in it. Yeah, and you can get that one so that you can take it on the airplane with you. Yes. Okay, sound. So we just talked a little bit about this, just overwhelming the senses. We have sound coming in a lot. Now I will say this, Florida is louder than Tennessee, right? A lot more people, a lot more traffic, a lot more clutter, a lot more different languages going on, and this can do something to the senses. I happen to love it, but usually when people are hearing foreign languages all around, you either tune it out or it's overwhelming. All right, so Bilbo Baggins, his house was perfect, whether you liked food or sleep or work or storytelling, or singing or just sitting and thinking best, or a pleasant mixture of them all. We like Tolkien. He's a believer. Natural rhythms. Spending the day in nature, right? The wind, the birds, the ocean, crickets, the rain, the thunder. All of these things are so healthy for us to hear. Unless they're attached to something traumatic, of course. Noise level knocks our bodies out of tune, out of natural rhythm, and is assaulting, so we need to limit that, right? My husband can't hear very well, so he just got a magical alarm clock. A, it vibrates the bed, not in the kind of way that you'd really want to have that happen. And B, it is super bright and super loud so that he can hear it. He still doesn't hear it, and it is an assault on my senses. I cannot do this. So I'm getting up at 5, and this thing's happening, and I just told him, I don't know, we have to figure something else out. I will wake you up. Something else has to happen because this is so much, and I can't go back to sleep because now I'm thinking about the entire day and what's coming. And negatives develop in the dark.
You said airplanes. I had a friend of mine who he used to travel to Europe and Asia like once or twice a month, and he's not tired. And I go, how can you do that? And I said, doesn't the jet lag bug you? And he says, no, it's noise. He says that's when when those Bose canceling headphones were first coming on the market. He goes, it's the noise. If you eliminate the noise, and he says you won't be tired. And
that's interesting.
I thought of that because remember when your kids were at the field trip and you rode the bus with those kids? You'd get off the bus and you're like exhausted because of the noise. So anyway, it works.
Or exhilarated, depending on your.
Well, yeah, going or coming down.
You know what, Kim? They made an alarm clock that's not an alarm clock, but it is a wake you with like,
Okay, I will need that information from you at the end because I'm about ready to
so that doesn't give you
hurt
a
myself.
noise, but it's like, bam, you've got the sun coming in your bedroom.
Okay, good. It has to be on that side of the life. All right. Silence and solitude. Silence and solitude. I can't say enough about silent retreats. Rachel and I went to one. Rachel, Passionist Nuns, correct?
Yes.
And the name of the place was Saint.
Oh, no, in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can look it
All right, look it up for us. I did put Abbey of Gethsemane. This is in Haven, Kentucky. This one, ours was in Kentucky as well, run by the Passionist nuns. And these are monks at the Abbey of Gethsemane. This is a beautiful thing to do for your mind and for your body, just to go silent. So I would highly suggest.
St. Joseph's Montessori in Davies.
St. Joseph's. And what's the town?
Passionist Nuns of St. Joseph Montessori, Davies?
Davies.
Daviess County.
Davis County. Okay. It was like 3 hours, right? Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. Can be hugely transformative. Nature sounds, instrumental music CDs, all of that genre. Natural sound machines. I love listening to like just a rain background. I can go to sleep to that anytime. I do have to go to the bathroom as well when that happens, but the good outweighs the bad. A tabletop fountain. I used to have a tabletop fountain in my office, and one of my clients broke it in a fit of rage, and I never got another one, so I should probably invest in that. But just that little water sound, because you can't get a big one, but get one at home, or get me one. A pet songbird, how about that? And feed it. The last time we had a songbird, we forgot to feed it. That was a bad situation for
The bird.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name. Yeah, that was sad. All right, relaxing music. Anything in this category. We do have some research on Pachelbel's Canon in D, Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, and Clair de Lune in terms of calming the neurotransmitters. All right. Taste. Are you ready for that? So eating is a necessity, and enjoying the experience should be too. So our relationship with food needs to be good and healthy, because it's the longest relationship we're ever going to have. All right, so fruits, vegetables. Again, this is not my area of expertise. I know some about it. I don't know enough about it, but I'm giving you just the nuts and bolts. Do not eat nuts and bolts. It's not going to be helpful. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, raw nuts and seeds, lots of water, half your weight in the ounces. And this is really the original and the best diet for human beings. We're going to try to eat 50 to 75% raw. And a rainbow of colors, all kinds of colors. Remember Dr. Sean talked to us about go in that vegetable section and give yourself the 30-day challenge. You're going to try one new veggie every day. And when you go in the veg section, sometimes I just go and I buy the things that I normally would buy. But after he challenged us with that, I was going, I never even noticed this entire section. There's a whole bunch of amazing, more Asian vegetables. And so just trying all of those different colors. Colors and textures. Sugar, processed foods, fried foods, immune system functioning drops. Mindful eating. Who was around when wonderful Courtney would come and talk to us about mindful eating? Yeah, a couple of you guys. We love her. She developed an entire new practice based on your relationship with food and how it transfers to your relationship with people, which I really love. Anyway, she would make us eat really slowly, one piece of chocolate. We're just looking at it. A lot of us had it melt in the hands. And then we're just gonna smell it, and then we're just gonna put it in our mouth, but do not chew. Just let it be there. Think about where it came from, how it's dark and helping your serotonin, and then you may chew. At that point, we were just pissed off. But we were mindfully pissed off. But the idea is, and I'm very guilty about this, fast food. Not just drive-through fast food at home, fast eating, not sitting down. And the idea she would talk to us about, make your place beautiful. Put your placemat and your silverware. Don't use the paper plates, use the real deal. Put a candle, put something nice on, make it an event. And thank you, God, for this food. Thank you for all the colors that you've given me. Thank you that I can afford this at Whole Foods and Sprouts. Thank you for, right, what it's doing to my body to heal me. And not just rushing through the process. And Courtney, when she would remind us about this, I would do this and I would get into such a good groove. And I can easily get out of that groove again, just like I get out of my exercise groove. So again, commitment. No, I'm staying with that because that was better and different. And it's not just about the food, it's about the experience of the people with me, with the food. All right, so she said, look at the food, notice the colors and textures, listen to the crunch. Oh my gosh, so I had my headphones on in the airplane and I was eating pretzels. That was an experience. Don't do that. That is not helpful for the brain health. Anyway, grateful. Who planted this? Who cultivated this? Thank you for the farmers. Thank you, all of this. Even go with the journey of how it got from there to my plate. All right, there we go. Touch, last. The skin is the largest organ on the body. 3,000 square inches with millions of things going on. Rachel, you would know more about this than I would. We know that infants, when they are deprived of time with caregiver, they don't thrive. They fail to thrive. We're not talking about the attachment piece, but we're talking about the physical piece, that's skin to skin. I think I've shared that when I adopted my youngest, the social worker said, the first thing I want you to do is get in that room, skin to skin with her. From the very first, cut the cord, skin to skin. I mean, they do the feet and all the other things. Harlow's Monkeys is an experiment that was conducted, I think I've shared it here, I'm not sure, where it cages with soft blankets alternated with food bottles for the monkeys to feed on. And the monkeys chose every time the cloth, to the exclusion of food. Another study that I looked at years ago was called Alexander's Rat Pack. This was an experiment done on addiction. And do you know that the rats chose, well, first of all, let me explain. So it was a kind of a park. Did I say pack? Rat Pack? Oh, wow, that was a Freudian slip. I think Frank Sinatra. Rat Park. And so the setting was first with the rats, and it was only sugar that they could eat. There was nothing fun, just the food. And of course they went to the food. Then they designed a second one where they put in other rats. They put in toys they could play on, and they chose that instead of the sugar. And so in this study, they wanted to show that connection is critical for fighting addiction. And that if I have those connections, if I can play, have fun, interact, then this becomes less important. Touch, it's just huge. Virginia Satir is a family systems therapist. She did all of her work with the family in the room. No individual sessions, no couple sessions. If it was a family issue, or couples, even a couples issue, the entire family was involved, and she would sculpt them. In other words, she would say, all right, so you're two siblings and here are the parents. Everybody get in a position with their body and how you feel in this family. How you feel when mom and dad argue. How you feel when you were told you have to move out when you're 18. And she said that everything had to do with the systemic nature of how a group functions. Anyway, she said, we need 4 hugs a day for survival, 8 a day for maintenance, and 12 for growth. Who's in deprivation mode? So give a hug, get a hug. Reach out and touch someone. Ask permission first, right? Anybody with trauma, we got to be careful with that. We also know we need 5 positives for every negative interaction or word in our relationships.
Do dogs count in the hug thing?
Dogs count in the hug big time. Animals count in all of this.
Yes.
Animals are hugely healing and typically very safe. So they lower, our interaction with them lowers cortisol. Textures are important too. How many of you have issues with certain textures? When I wear wool, I'm grumpy. When I wear this, I don't like that touching my body. And right, so you need to know these things. Rachel, you come to mind for this with me because in your living room, you have the softest things. I don't even have to sit on them to go, oh, in my body. I just do I want to stay there. Go over there to that. So, right? So soft, touchable, velvety, feathery pillows and plush and thick carpet. Our new house has thick carpet. And I was just like, oh, I love it right here. Smooth grass. The best way to ground is ground. I take my shoes off and I'm on the ground. In the sand, on the dirt, on the wet. On the whatever. Don't do Arizona in the summertime like that. Otherwise, you're good to go. I love it how my person who laughs at it. Thank you for being here. So glad. I'm going on the comedy show next. Oh, yeah, thank you also. A hot bath, a refreshing shower, a massage, all of these things. So helpful. All right. Here's your stuff. Here's just your reminder about success steps for environment. Take a look at sight, order, simplicity, aesthetics, positivity, plants, etc. Smell, sound, natural rhythms, taste, original diet, touch. Just be mindful. What is soothing to the touch for you? All right? Stimulate your senses. All right, activity. Ready for the A? Are you guys okay? Any questions about anything? I know I'm talking a ton. Yes, miss?
I have two questions. I was just thinking, I think it would be so cool, I don't know if you think this would be therapeutic, with your list of friends or loved ones and equate them with the food, and kind of do that analogy, you were off the go. Like, are they pepperoni, are they ice cream, are they chocolate cookies?
So are you talking about just in your own life and in your own world going, oh, this person just reminds me of
Yeah. Is that helpful?
like a benefit mental health wise?
Is there mental health benefits to that?
I just don't even know.
That's scary.
Unless yeah.
You can try it and see if it helps you.
Try and see if it helps. Because what I was going to say is, unless you vomited from that thing, and that's what you equate with someone else, right? Oh, almond roca. Meg.
You could make her some cakes.
Oh no, I just use you as an example. Yeah. You don't even know how. I know. Yeah.
So I was thinking though, you know how I don't know if this is true for other people. My son, who's an adult, can tell you every vacation we've ever been on by the food we ate.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. He's a food person. He's like fixated on food. So it's like sometimes food has the ability to bring back memories that are
100%.
We were just saying with the sensory.
Yeah.
you know, or like a special anniversary meal or something.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Well, and taste is mostly smell.
Well, well, I was just going to say two things. Number one, comfort foods. You know, what do you want after a hard day and you missed all your meals? Grilled cheese sandwich and top ramen every time for me. Yes, but also, think about food. I might touch it. I definitely smell it. I can hear it. I can see it. It's involving all of my senses. And so, yes, the memory is going to come back. Remember that olfactory as well is the one that's just a direct link. So I smell lemon meringue pie, and I think of my best friend in California, right? So I would automatically link, sometimes, Missy, people with food experiences. Yeah.
The second question is, why are, I don't know if you can answer this, but I know that some
Can you only give me things I can answer?
what?
Give me things I can answer only.
This is so easy. So some people are more tactile than not.
Yes.
Kids on the spectrum tend to want, like, I'm very, very tactile. What keeps somebody or what drives someone
Yeah.
Like I was
It-
reading this one part to a friend about the benefit of hugs,
Mhm.
getting hugs, because some people don't like to be hugged.
Yeah, and that's why I said ask if you suspect. So if I'm meeting with someone on the spectrum who is sensory avoidant, not sensory seeking, I'm probably not going to hug them. You know, this distance might be what they can do. If I get all up in their space, they're going to have a limbic system activation because that doesn't feel safe or good to them.
Is it learned or is it?
That's going to be more neurophysiological for them.
Is it?
Some things may be learned if, for example, you learn don't touch your food, don't touch that, don't use your fork. There might be something happening because of sort of a trauma experience that you felt shamed. But yeah, someone also with OCD, probably not going to want to touch the sticky, hold the ginormous burrito, anything messy. That I don't like that on my skin. Yeah. And so, who knows? I'm kind of sensory seeking. I kind of like to get all up in there, and I don't mind touching my food. In fact, and then what about more?
It's purposeful, actually, because I didn't know that, and it came out of trauma.
I mean, this is like you walk in here and you feel like you walked into your mother's womb.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's true. You.
Like,
And that's not pleasant.
It's the smell, it's the touch, it's the sound, it's everything you just described.
Yeah.
But what would be interesting, I think it would be more difficult for somebody that is avoidance because it's just comfortable.
I think it's safe to say that we are, for sure, products of nurture and nature combined. What percentage, what the split is very hard to say. But we do know for sure spectrum disordered people are typically going to be avoidant or seeking. Sensory avoidant or sensory seeking. And with different things, right? So I've had clients who, I can't sit on your sofa. I don't like the way this feels. I'm going to sit on this chair that is, leather, like as if I had a leather chair. The colors in that painting, they really bother me. Or they will definitely sit at a distance from me. Yeah. And if I were ever to try to hug, it would be very uncomfortable. So again, early messaging. Think about in a family where it's very specific that the foods are on the plate arranged just perfectly in a very maybe rigid home. Then I might pick up that habit of no foods can touch, but that's typically something that I kind of have or don't have.
I think it's inborn. I can give a little bit of insight because I am on the spectrum, and okay, my communication methods are touch and proximity.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess for female is not usually the case. But as far as having an aversion to touching certain things or feeling certain things or whatever, I think you're born with your communication styles.
Mm-hmm.
And just because an autistic person might, or somebody on the spectrum, whatever it is these days,
Yeah.
just because they may avoid the feel of a fur coat because it's creepy or something, or can't sit on your couch, it doesn't mean that they still don't have a really highly developed, that's how they communicate is through touch, because that's my main thing.
100%. But it's what is the touch and figuring out.
But I was born that way.
Yes.
I didn't learn it.
That's why I say I believe that predominantly I'm that way, and then things can get developed, strengthened, or weakened.
Right.
Yeah. So, Kelly.
It's going to be, I just think it just reminds me, like every time we do this each month, we just also navigating that with someone and understanding, to your point, or, I use hug because hug is easy, but.
Yeah, it's a complicated,
Sensitive.
it's a complicated thing. Yeah.
It is.
And how much input can someone take? How much multitasking can someone do? Men are not as good at at this as women, but some women really are good at it and others not as good, right? Not as, it's harder.
There's a stimulation, like threshold. I know
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
go out and party and see people and have friends, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay,
Too much
too
TMI.
much.
Yeah.
I will just go to retreat somewhere, and it's not like I'm not trying to be friendly. It's I can't take that much.
I can't do anymore. So yeah, so we'll call it TMS.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, too much stimulation.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, speaking of stimulation, here we go. Activity. Isaac Newton said that a body in motion stays in motion, a body at rest tends to stay at rest. The second law of thermodynamics says that closed systems tend to degenerate. And so we have to remain open, we have to keep that system moving and progressing and changing and growing so that we don't have atrophy. The American Heart Association says that when physically challenged through exercise, the body grows stronger and healthier, ages more slowly, and in addition to cutting the risk of heart disease in half, it has other benefits for mind, body, and spirit, and even for social relationships. The last stat I looked at said that about 70% of the population in the United States is not physically active.
Wow, that's a high number.
Yeah.
Is that, do you think a lot of that has to do with environment? Like, obviously people in California and Florida, they're gonna be out more than if you're in like Minnesota.
When I have to put my bathing suit on any day, in any month, I'm going to be a little bit more prone to make sure I look my best. And I can get out because it's sunny. It's not freezing.
Yeah.
And that may not, if someone's committed, it doesn't matter where they live. I'm gonna, in Alaska, I'm gonna get to the gym or I'm gonna get some equipment in my house. But for more people kind of in this middle ground, that will be a factor that will prevent them. It's also, agrarian to industrial and techno. We got slow. We stopped moving. So yeah, it's both factors. The number of overweight children, I looked this up, 3 million overweight kids. Yeah. Rachel, if you win, yeah, I know you gotta go. So activity. Movement and exercise. Again, this is one of the 7 happiness or wellness habits from positive psychology and one of the 7 natural laws of health. It is preventative medicine. Movement is preventative medicine. And it strengthens the body to fight disease. It strengthens the immune system to battle whatever's coming our direction. Can't even say enough about what it does to mood, stress level, anxiety, all the benefits relative to serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, all of that. Walking, hey, listen, even 10 minutes of something. 10 minutes of something is huge. Reduces estrogen modulating fat, enhances several measures of immunity in the immune suppressed person, right? So again, the stronger my body is, the more I can fight off disease. And the more I can maintain a disease-less body. All right, there's a quote here about oxygen in the blood system, all of these kinds of things from a physical therapist. We can over-exercise. I have had clients who over-exercised, and I have had clients who ran way too many marathons, especially in close proximity, and this is counterproductive at a certain point. Ponce de Leon, did you know he never found the fountain of youth? He actually did die. Yeah. Genius is 1%. There's that quote we love. And then the last thing that you see here are some testimonials from people who were diagnosed with issues and or were overweight, and they changed their lifestyle. They changed what they did. So you've got a situation with a Jim B, not Jim Beam, and Wendy S. Inactivity causes atrophy and weakness. All right, so strength training and cardio. This has been shown to be hugely beneficial to brain health and preventing dementia. Specifically resistance training, resistance work, and cardio. Stephen Covey says, I'm trying to build strength, and that doesn't happen until the muscle fibers rupture and the nerve fiber registers the pain. And then nature overcompensates, and within 48 hours, the fiber's made stronger. We know this if we started a workout routine. Everything hurt. I couldn't sit on and then it improves. All right, helpful tools. Find a partner or a personal trainer to help you with this. List the benefits so that the benefits outweigh the pain, right? The good outweighs the difficulty. And consider the alternative. I always say to people, don't wait until a doctor tells you you have to. Decide you want to and need to now. I don't want a doctor to ever say, you now have to do this thing because you just had a heart attack or a stroke. Or you now can't do this thing. So we have the choice that we can make it now. I don't know what that's supposed to say. Stoplights? Spotlights. Hard work spotlights the character of people. Some roll up their sleeves, some turn up their noses, and some don't turn up at all. All right, and listen, I'm guilty of this more than anybody else I know, or anybody else in my sphere, in my house. I don't know. That I get too busy and exercise will get eliminated. I won't make time for that. And that should be at the top of my list. So look at all of that data. All right, here are your success steps for this letter. See your doctor if you have any sort of anything going on with your body before you start an exercise program. Get support, get accountability, get into aerobics, also into strength training. The combination of the two is the most successful program you can have. Stretching is huge, and then everyday activities. Park farther away from the store. Walk whenever you can. Take the stairs instead of the elevator, unless it's the Empire State Building. You're going to have to take the stairs on that one. Jump rope during commercials. I haven't done that one yet, but I do move during commercials. But look for ways to be active. These are two great YouTube videos, Fork Over Knives and Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, about people changing what they did to bring themselves back to health. Anybody seen either of those? Yeah, Coco, good. Which one?
Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. All right, that's that. That's it. Questions about any of it?